Alright, so what did I think of Atlantic City? My name's Greg, you're watching How to Play Paintball. Alright guys, so I wanted to go over real quick about Atlantic City. So the event itself, maybe some things that they could have done better, things that I liked about it, things that I didn't like about it, the good, bad, and the ugly is what I wanted to go through. So let's start off with the good. So one of the things that I really liked was the actual location. For me, I was able to fly right into Atlantic City's airport, which is ACY, I think. But for me, the flight was only like $220. If I had been able to fly out on Monday, I actually would have been able to get it for $100 cheaper, but just schedules didn't work out. So that's why I wasn't able to do that. But I mean, for $220, that's really solid, and it was only a 15-minute drive from the airport to the actual venue itself. And then our hotel was only like 10 minutes away from the event. So all of that combined made it fantastic. I love it when that happens, where you don't have to fly in somewhere and then drive, 2 hours to get to the venue or whatever, just because now that's gas money, and then you definitely have to get a rental car or whatever, and it just makes it more difficult. So this made it a lot better with being able to just fly right in, and then 10-15 minutes and I'm at the hotel or at the venue. So that was definitely something that was really good. I thought the reffing was pretty fair on our field. The first field, which was the die field, I believe, is the one that we had played on. When we moved on, we played on the die field again for the Ocho finals. Then when we played for the quarterfinals, we moved over to the GI field. And I don't know if it was just their crew, but the GI field was just not as put together. Like, they had issues with the scoreboard, and like there was one point where I was the last one and the guy hit the buzzer, and the ref was checking me, but then I said, okay, well, don't worry about it, because they just hit the buzzer. But then the other team picked up their gun and started shooting at me, and I was trying to pull a penalty because I'm like, how is it that he can hit the buzzer and then still shoot me afterwards? Because that's a dead point. Now you're shooting after the point. It just didn't make sense, and then the refs just kind of stood there with like deer in the headlights kind of a look. So I don't know if it was just on that particular field. Maybe it was newer refs. It could have been that. On the die field, I thought it was good. I thought everybody was pretty fair. I mean, there's going to be a couple things here and there, but I mean, reffing is tough, guys. Like, if you get a chance to go ref, I recommend it. You're going to feel for the refs more, but also it helps you know the rule book. Because we did have a team that complained about something, but it was a hit on the top of his mask, and then they wanted to see the ultimate ref, and I was like, you're not going to get that overruled. Like, that's a justified major penalty. It's a hit. It's an obvious hit. Like, yeah. So anyways, then there was another one that the ref had to run after a guy, and the player wouldn't get out. So they threw a major, which again is a justified major. To go and run away from the ref after he's trying to call you out, you can't do that. So that was a justified major as well. I didn't think that it was unjustified in any way. Even if it happened to us, I would have been like, hey, you were running away from the ref. Like, you can't do that. So some of the bad was that the fields weren't exactly level, I guess you could say. Like, there was definitely some like kind of rocky patches and things like that. So I mean, if the NXL could maybe, I don't want to say go in a day earlier, but just to make sure that that's all covered up. Now, they did put some turf down on top of some of the drainage systems on the field, or like some like asphalt patches or whatever. But I mean, there were still some other issues where if you slid in, you might have a chance of hurting yourself. The grass didn't really hold up as well. Once this grass kind of died out, it didn't kind of lay down, just died is the best way to describe it. So when you tried to slide, you would just hit and stick. When the grass was there, it was perfect. You were able to slide completely fine. But that also is kind of a flip side, because this ground soaked up water extremely well. So when it rained, you didn't have to worry about there being big puddles or anything like that. It was just a matter of just waiting a little bit, and once the rain was done and you just gave the ground a little bit of time, it would all seep in and it was gone. So whenever we played, even after it rained on both days, we didn't have an issue with any mud or anything like that. But I know some teams that played right after it rained, of course, it's still going to be muddy. So it's kind of a catch-22 where you can't really win in that case. I guess another complaint would have been from stuff I've heard from other teams was the fact that the hotels there are really expensive. So I mean, it's tough because it's a really nice venue. I thought it was a great venue. The grass was good for the most part. The field itself was easy to get to. There was a lot of food around there. Just that was all good. But it's Atlantic City, so the hotels are going to be a lot more expensive, which I can understand. So, I mean, again, it's kind of a catch-22 because you could go to a place where the hotels are cheaper, but then it's not in a good spot. But I don't know. It's tough to say one way or another what would be best. Something else I thought was good was we ended up shooting GI, and it shot great. I actually got nervous because some people grabbed Evil tickets, and they came back with cases of Evil, and I had heard that wasn't shooting well. And then we shot it, and I thought it shot great. So even if that's their worst batch, then or for that tournament, I mean, then cool. Like that's fine with me. If their worst is still good, that just makes life a lot easier. Even when it rained, it's very much like Florida, where it would rain and then be done in just wait like 15 minutes and you were good to go. I thought the weather was gorgeous. It wasn't as humid down here in Florida, so for me, I thought it was really nice. It might be hot for some people that are used to a lot even less humidity, because that'll slap you in the face. But overall, I thought it was actually a very well-run event. They still don't have the gun racks in the divisional pits anymore. It's only in the pro pits, and I haven't heard why that was taken away. I thought it was a very nice thing to have in there, rather than having to stack your guns up, in line or whatever, against something, and then you have another gun against that gun. But it's not a make or break kind of a thing. It's just that when they brought that out, I thought it was a really cool feature that they were bringing out for the players. So when it was gone, it was kind of weird. So I don't know, maybe people were breaking the wooden planks. I don't know. But it'd be nice to bring it back. So if anybody from the NXL is watching, it'd be nice to have those back. I guess the only other complaint I can really think of is that the air compressor felt like it was going real slow, and also it wasn't filling up to 45 every single time. It would fill to like 4,000 PSI, maybe like 43. At a tournament, I just don't want there to be any variable where I know that my gun can shoot that. I just want to have that buffer just in case something weird happens. I don't know. I just wouldn't want that to be the reason why we don't move on, because I ran out of air because I couldn't fill it up to 45. So if I had to be nitpicky, that. Also, the other thing is that the chronographs. Virtue made a great product. I'll give them that. The Virtue clock, or the chronograph that they have, is great. It's a handheld chronograph made for paintball by paintballers. The issue that I have, though, is that the one in the pit is totally different than the one on the field. So I'll be shooting like 280, 290 feet per second, roughly. Walk out on the field 305 or 310. I think I had a 311, and I was like, I didn't have it in, like, I don't know. It was just weird to have that big of a jump. So I don't know if there's a way that Virtue can work on that. I don't know if it's a programming thing, if it's a hardware thing. I'm not an expert in that, but I see the results of it, so I don't want it to seem like I'm being whiny, but it's annoying when you go and you chrono and you get everything ready, and then you walk out on the field and you only have a minute or 2 minutes, and then you go to shoot, and then the ref says, hey, your gun is shooting hot. So that can be an issue, but hey, it's kind of par for the course, I guess. But guys, thank you again for coming along with me on the journey. Sorry for not having this video last week. I know I should have had that. I got back home and then slept and all that. So then I had to make up a final exam and end up getting 85. So hey, but yeah, it was just a bunch of, I don't know. didn't get around to it. So I apologize for that, guys. But like I said in a previous video, I want to try to get in, at least in the month of July, like 2 or 3 videos a week. If I can, I'm for sure it's going to be that one a week. We're going to go and make sure that we're sticking with those Mondays, but I'd like to have it where we can have a couple videos every week, so that way you guys can see some cool review stuff that I have. Maybe do another Q&A session. I think that'd be cool to do, and I want to do some more giveaways, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, guys, remember, watch, learn, win.